Geofrequencies are a group of frequencies which are based on the work of Nikola Tesla and the concept of 369 and the way those correspondences work. And if you use them together with light and sound, you can create a state of pleasant disassociation or trance where healing can occur very easily and things can be released from the system.
What if light, sound, and vibration, precisely delivered through technology, could unlock the same senses, insights, and healing and transformation that once required altered substances? What if conscious evolution didn't depend on escaping the body, but on how learning to work with the mind and the body in a coherent and intentional way? Welcome to Tech-Driven Energetic Coherence. I'm Dr. Mary Sanders, and my mission is to help people discover more empowered ways to use their mind and body for healing, growth, and consciousness. Today, I'm joined by Raffaele Gianfrancesco, one of the visionaries behind Roxiva. Together, we're going to explore how light, sound, and vibration generated through advanced technology can safely and effectively guide you into profound coherent states without any substances, while still delivering measurable, meaningful outcomes. In this episode, we'll unpack how tech-driven coherence is reshaping energy medicine, expanding consciousness, and opening new possibilities for personal transformation. If you're curious about the future of healing, awareness, and human potential, then this conversation is for you. Pleasant disassociation. So that means that we are creating an altered state within our brain wave frequencies. Can you speak more as to what Roxiva, the intention? Now, I know that the machine has various different settings for various different outcomes as to what the patient's intentions are. And so listeners, I just have to give you a visual as to what we are talking about, the technology of Roxiva. So imagine sitting back in a recliner or an anti-gravity chair, and then you have this light that is in front of you that is emitting, I love it, emitting various different light frequencies, and then there is a headset or an audio frequency that goes along with it. And so we have talked about the various levels of brainwave frequencies, but this machine allows a person, and I want Raffaele to talk deeper about this, but allows us to descend, to go down into the lower wave brainwave frequencies, which we then may be able to transcend into the highest gamma wave frequency. So can you speak more about that and how people might be able to use meditations to reach the lower brainwave frequencies?
We're talking about working with Kundalini energy. We're talking about working with cerebrospinal fluid. All of these things are at play. We're awakening the pathway, much like breath work, from the lower, the dantian, the first chakra, and then moving the energy up the column so that it can manifest as pure energy and connect us to source. And by the same token, the reverse process occurs when we receive inspiration, and then we take that inspiration that we might receive during a meditation and bring it down the chakras into physical manifestation. So ideally, what we're doing is we're trying to create a state that is a healing state. Now, any state can be a healing state. What I like to say is the medicine is usually the opposite of what you're doing normally. So if you're like a very driven, focused, dialed in, motivated person, then the medicine is going to be the opposite of that. It's going to be deep rest, deep meditation, trance states, because with all of that mind work that goes into all of that creation energy that these highly motivated people have, it requires a balancing to occur on the other side. And by the same token, for somebody that is usually very kind of disassociated or dreamlike, or, you know, kind of in their own world, the medicine might be introducing frequencies that are higher, that correspond more into the focus frequencies, things like, you know, alpha, low beta, those types of things, and then certainly the gamma. So no one thing fixes everything. It's always a matter of the device and the technology meeting the user where they are. And so we have a lot of tools that allow you to select sessions to, we have an app now that allows you to know what all the sessions are. There's over 150, I think we're getting close to 200 available sessions, although at any time there's about 150 on the lamp. But you can basically use the tools to determine where you are and where you'd like to be, what you'd like to feel. I like to equate it to having a tuning knob on your noggin. So if you could dial in a state right now, what would that be? You know, what would you like to feel like right now? And that's available and that's possible. And we do it through, as you said, the combination of light and sound, but also in the body through the vibroacoustic modalities that we offer now too. So
love it. Okay, so I love talking to other practitioners who are using various different languages and terms, but we're at the end of the day, we're all saying the same thing. What I'm hearing you say, let's see if we can simplify this a little bit for myself and for the listeners as well. And we all are aware of the vertical power current that runs within all of us, connecting us into the individual chakras. Now, within this vertical power current, we've got these two-way energy exchange, the pathway of liberation moving up, and then the pathway of manifestation moving down, as you just talked about. Each of the energy centers has a different level of consciousness. So as you go from the root on up, you're increasing in frequency and in light and in vibration and consciousness. And each of those energy centers has its own endocrine gland associated with it. And those endocrine glands produce hormones. And so now you've just simply created technology, sound, vibration, and light that will dial in wherever the patient is in their journey, in their lifetime, in their pathway. And you're going to be able to dial the knobs or dial the machine to elicit a certain intention or a response that the patient is looking to receive.
More a state. And then the response will come from them being in that state. We want to put them in a beneficial state. And something I'd like to point out, because I know that you are a licensed doctor of chiropractic medicine, you can use the word patients quite freely, but in conversation when we're talking about Roxiva, we usually talk about sessions and we usually talk about users, because, you know, we don't want to muddy the waters or have anybody accidentally believe that this is a medical device. So just wanted to put that out there.
Got it. And so let's go back, because I think this is really an important conversation to talk about. And that is the production of the cerebrospinal fluid, which is, you know, an aqueous salt-based solution, if you will, that protects the central nervous system, the brain stem, the spinal cord, and then the spine, there are spinal nerve roots that branch away to provide information to all the viscera in the skeletal muscles and tissues within the physical body. Now, the natural flow of the cerebrospinal fluid is generated around the brain, various different ventricles, down and in cases around the actual central nervous system. So what I'm hearing you say, and we've talked about this, is the reversal of this flow of the cerebrospinal fluid. Instead of it being pulled by gravity, we are creating a state for the users to experience a reversal of this cerebrospinal fluid to where there is the possibility, if you will, of creating force as it reverses through the fourth ventricle, through the aqueduct, into the space of the third ventricle surrounding the pineal. And the pineal gland, listeners, we're not new to this little organ. You know, it's about the size of your fingertip, but boy, we need to know more about the pineal gland because it's responsible for a whole cascade of chemicals that can produce exogenous, endogenous opioids and hallucinogenic properties. So Raffaele, talk us through how this is happening by using Roxiva, how we can induce hallucinogenic states within the users without the use of drugs.
So there's two ways to do it. So we're using the optical system, and we're using the suprachiasmatic nucleus and the suboccipital cortex to modulate the time circuit. And what we're doing is we're flickering so fast that we're tricking the time circuit by blinking so fast, night, day, night, day, night, day, night, day. And what happens is the time circuit eventually just gives up and goes offline because it cannot interpret these signals normally based on the circadian rhythms, and the circadian rhythms reset. And when you lose that time signal, you lose all structures that occur in time. So that things like our sense of personality or our sense of kind of proprioception, all of these things can temporarily dissolve. So there's a depersonalization that can occur. At the same time, that flickering is directly impacting the pineal gland and causing it to oscillate, which is stimulating it. And when you stimulate the pineal gland, you know that it has the piezoelectric crystals all around it. It creates a light effect in the pineal gland, aside from the light that we're introducing. And with the cerebrospinal fluid always moving, and we know the frequencies that actually allow those ventricles to open, we can get the fluid pumping through and being illuminated by the pineal gland. And we know that while it doesn't have specific photoreceptors in it, the cerebrospinal fluid is a communication medium. It allows for connectivity through the whole system so that we're moving this light energy through the system and stimulating all of these areas. We've also created some specific programs now that pulse the cerebrospinal fluid with a mixture of light pulses for a certain amount of time and then darkness and physical pulses in the vibroacoustics for another set time, and these alternate and flip so that there literally is a flow now being created. And so there's a tremendous amount of possibility of what can occur when you get that cleaning action going. And we're learning more and more about Alzheimer's and all of these cognitive decline diseases, that it's basically a plumbing problem. We're not cleaning the brain out fast enough. And so if we can get the cerebrospinal fluid moving, if we can get it illuminated, if we can get it stimulated, all of these things are beneficial to the cognitive health of the being.
I love it. There is no doubt that you are finding value in the knowledge and the wisdom that Raffaele is sharing with us today. Imagine having more conversations like this with credentialed practitioners and leaders within the industry who are reshaping how we understand health and healing and the human potential. And that's exactly what I want to bring to you every week in every episode of the Energy Medicine Podcast. So if you want to keep learning, growing, and expanding your energy medicine toolbox, then there are a few things that I need from you. Please like this video, and then go to the YouTube and subscribe to the Energy Medicine channel. Hit the notification bell so that you never miss an episode. This only takes a moment of your time, and it makes a huge difference, not just for me, but for the entire community. Your engagement helps me to attract more dynamic practitioners like Raffaele, people with deep expertise, clinical wisdom, and a passion for elevating the conversations around human consciousness. So if this episode is resonating with you, please take a second right now and to like, subscribe, and stay connected. Together, we can bring this powerful embodied medicine to more people who need it. Okay, so once again, we're going to simplify for my own benefit and for the listeners, so that we have, with the light, the strobing light, I'm not going to say that word again, the strobing light creates a light dark, day night kind of synapse that happens within the optic nerves. The optic nerves are essentially the nerves that exit out of the backside of the eyeball, and as soon as they get inside the skull, they cross. And at that place where they cross is called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. And I love that Raffaele is calling this, kind of resets the timing. I've always called this area energetically the timing clock, right? And so then what happens is that from that space, there's a signal, a very fast signal that goes down to that ganglia and then straight back up into the pineal. And that pineal is also responsible for the production of melatonin, right? That regulates light and dark. And then a whole cascade, as we were just talking about, the whole cascade of hormones that come after it. Now, we know through ancient wisdom has taught us that by using plant medicine, we can instill various different states within the brain and within our neurology. Now, here we are, 2026, we're using technology to get elicit the same kind of state within the users in order for transformation and healing to begin. I mean, I love the idea that it can also be used preventatively. I mean, who doesn't want to maintain, their firing neurons within their brain until, their last days of their life? I mean, we get to preserve that. So talk to me about some of the conditions in which users are now motivated or gravitating towards the Roxiva machine.
Ooh, that's a broad question. Can you be a little more specific?
Yeah, your users. What are most people? I know that it's individual to the person based upon their specific need. As you described, there are some people who are looking to get deeper into their meditative state, and then there are some people who are looking to transcend into the gamma states. But what would you say are some of the physiological symptoms that people might be having that they want to personally work on? This machine can be used in professional settings. It can be used in personal settings. So why would somebody want to reach out and purchase one of these machines?
So I'm going to give you a big picture answer and then boil it down to the very specific question you asked. So what's really going on in the world today is that we are all soul sick. And, we started out talking about coherence, and the fact is that we are in such a state of discoherence and disconnection and soul sickness that most people have this giant God-sized hole in them and they don't know how to fill it. And so we're trying to use materialism and sex and achievement and whatever, yoga, parties, football, whatever. We're just shoving it all in, trying to feel fulfilled, and yet we always just want more and want more and want more. And that's because we've lost our sense of awe and wonder and joy at just being alive in the world. We've begun to measure and dissect and take everything and quantify it and compare it and judge it. And it's just, the magic is gone. And when I say God, I'm not talking about a guy in the sky. Okay, I'm talking about whatever energy you as an individual feel is an organizing principle of love in the universe. Okay, so the Roxiva is not a product with a religious connection, but it is definitely a very spiritual product. So the people that are drawn to the Roxiva are people that are psychonauts, They want to explore consciousness. They're people that have trauma or have situations that they feel that there's something missing, that, you know, they're not fulfilling their potential. There's a sadness, there's a sense of unwellness. And yes, some of these things may manifest as physical ailments and diseases, but to my feeling, most of it, if not all of it, is just plain old soul sickness, that we're just unhappy people because we've been sold this lie of what success is and what happiness is, and we all work so hard to achieve it, and then we get there and we realize that it was just a big cosmic joke.
So as a, can I call it a biohacking tool?
Yeah, I mean, we are definitely working with the physical organism and creating changes in states using technology. So 100%. But, you know, I want to come up with a better word than biohacking, because, you know, biohacking has become, I was just at, 4 or 5 biohacking conferences in a row over the summer into the fall. And then, this past early winter. And, what I tell people is this thing, whatever this is, you can freeze it, you can bake it, you can peptide it, you can stem cell it, you can do whatever you want to it, but it's just a vehicle. Just like, if you lease a car, you get a new car every few years, right? The person driving the car is not the car. This is the car, but there's a being inside driving the car that is the soul, that is the, our essence. And so where I'm going by saying all this is, yes, you can tweak all the physical stuff, but at the end of the day, when, before the head hits the pillow, when you've done the last bathroom grooming thing and you're looking in the mirror, do you love what you see? And I don't mean this. Do you love the being that's looking out through those eyes into the mirror? Are you happy? And that's the ultimate hack, is being happy no matter what you see or what you have. So biohacking, yes, it is a form of biohacking, but I think it's so much more than that.
Of health is going to look like in this sphere.
We are the first device of this type that has back and forth communication capabilities, which, we have the app, which is great. We can control the lamp with the app, but we are in conversations with some companies that do brainwave measurement, so that you could be wearing a device that's measuring your brain waves, and we will be able to create a loop between the device that's measuring your brain waves and the Roxiva, so that you can have the session change based on your goals, based on your brain waves on the fly. Now, we're probably a couple to a few years away from perfecting that, but that's where this is going, is being able to read what's happening in the brain and modulate the stimuli based on that.
Wow, that's fabulous. I'm assuming then on your website, or at least accessible to the users, we can find scientific research if people want to geek out and really see what happens within the brainwave frequencies when you're under the lamp, so to speak. I'm sure that they are available for those that are interested.
100%, yes. Yeah, Roxiva.com, Roxiva.com.
Excellent. And listeners, all this content will be available. The direct links will be in the show notes. So all that is accessible to you. So, Raffaele, I want to say before we wrap it up I just want to express a tremendous amount of gratitude for your time to share your wisdom and your knowledge and your experience. You're not approaching the conversation from just a developer's viewpoint. You're coming from from an experiential understanding and how it has helped you individually. So thank you. I appreciate your wisdom in sharing that with us. And listeners, I know you're curious, so you know what to do. Check out the website, read more about Raffaele and his team, and check out Roxiva.com for additional scientific literature or just the user-friendly website that they have. So you can search out various different practitioners that are close to you, or maybe even purchase one for yourself. And if you do, please be sure to invite me over. So I want to check it out. So listeners, until next time, much gratitude reaching out to every single one of you. And just I invite you to stay curious, stay coherent, at least attempt to do the best that you can, and continue to explore what is possible. Thank you.
Thank you.